what is happening between Chelsea and Samu OMorodion? Why the deal has been collapsed? Manchester United have completed the signing of De Ligt, and they are ready to sign more. Barcelona is on the news. What is Flick doing? Because Hans Flick said Ansu Fati is not part of his plans. Where will he be landing? Arsenal price for Eddie Nketiah is not working for other clubs. What's up, guys? If you just join us and you are new, remember to hit the subscription button, like and share the video. And hey, Wan-Bissaka has just completed his first medical test. Well, sorry, Manchester United, it looks like Jadon Sancho has been stuck with Manchester United. And hey, PSG was about to make him their main man of their squad, but then they decided not to go ahead with that deal. What's really wrong with this deal?
Yeah, so I was actually not surprised when the deal collapsed, especially looking at the way that PSG was able to sign Desire. First of all, we knew that Desire was about joining Bayern Munich, but then the latter stage showed that PSG was able to get this young chap. On the other hand, getting a player like Desire, a winger, I don't think there's any need to go and pay huge amounts of money for Sancho. And looking at the other side too, it's also a positive news for Manchester United, especially they lost him last season to Dortmund, and this season he's available for United. So it's more or less like a new signing. So it's a win-win in both directions. I just hope that at the end of the day, both parties will get what they needed in both players.
Wan-Bissaka has just completed his first medical for sure. So, I mean, you think what impact or what changes will he make in West Ham squad?
Yeah, I think he will make a very good addition to the team. I'm looking at the recruitment West Ham United are doing, bringing in a couple of guys, Somerville from Leeds United, Fulkrug from Dortmund, adding Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Manchester United. I think they are trying to build the team like in all their departments, from the defense to the midfield to the attack. They are making additions, which is very good. The other guys who are also there, Gerard Bowen, Mohamed Kudus, and the other guys, they'll complement each other. For me, the only problem is with the injuries with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So if he could stay fit and maybe give them the team like maybe 20 matches in the season solid, like he will be a great addition to the team. We wish him well, because moving from Manchester United to West Ham United, people might think maybe it's a decline. We saw Zuma moving from Chelsea to West Ham United to perform. So for me, I think he can do better maybe with West Ham than maybe when he was with Manchester United. So let's hope and see. The season is about to start. We watch him match day 1, match day 2. We can draw the conclusion that West Ham have made a good signing or not. So we wish him all the best.
The lead has been completed, and he's now Manchester United. And you are enhancing the defensive phase. Do you think he has the capability to change the defensive face of Manchester United after looking at what happened in the community?
All right, so I think all Manchester United fans are really delighted for the signing of Mathias De Ligt and also Mazraoui. These two players, we've been after them for, I think, throughout this transfer windows. And finally, to get their signature, I think it's going to boost the squad of Manchester United. And watch out for this. I think these two players will be available for our first game against Fulham. We are just excited and probably wishing them all the best in Old Trafford.
United, after winning the FA Cup last season against Manchester City, they thought it would have been just a walkthrough for them in the Community Shield, but then ended up just messing it up. Was it the fault of Eddie Nketiah or the players wasn't ready?
Eddie Nketiah, I think, played his part, did everything. The selection was solid. Just that I think Rashford and one or two other players couldn't utilize their chances, So unfortunately, the goal came out, I think, in the 84th minute, which City also equalized before the 90th minute. So the game, I think, proceeded to the extra penalties, and I think City were the better penalty takers. So I think they won the day. But the deal is not done. Job is not done. There are a lot of trophies to be played for in the coming season. So watch out for Manchester United.
Eddie Nketiah saying he's the main man for trophies in Manchester United, ended up bottling the Community Shield for sure. Let's see what is going to happen this season. For me, Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku once again, name has been mentioned with Napoli. They have made verbal contact with Chelsea. A side is not a problem. Do you think it's a good deal for Napoli? 35 plus 5 million add-ons.
Yeah, so when it comes to this deal, I think it has been long overdue. It was supposed to be done ages ago, but I don't know why. You should also know that Chelsea has been signing. So whilst they are signing, they also need to do a lot of exits in order to clear their wage bill. Napoli was linked to Lukaku very long ago. And you know that Antonio Conte is his dream to get him working again with Lukaku. And I think the last statement from Chelsea actually kept the fire on Lukaku, stating that all these players, Chaloba, the likes of Lukaku, and I think one other guy, was not supposed to train with the senior side, and they were supposed to go and train with the under 21. This kept a lot of fire in Lukaku, who then released it on the Napoli side. So now Napoli came in for Lukaku with a verbal agreement of 25 million and 5 million add-on. I think it's a good deal, and I think Chelsea this time around should just accept it and let the Lukaku go to his team that he wants to play with.
Accept it and allow Lukaku to go. I'm not
Yeah.
going to pass you with OMorodion deal because I need to explain why the deal has been collapsed before anyone, because I'll give everyone opportunity with that deal for sure. But then João Félix is a player that has spent his loan with Chelsea the last 2 seasons. Chelsea wanted him last season, but the then coach Mauricio Pochettino said he wasn't part of his plans. Now he's making you turn to Chelsea. What changes will he make in this current Chelsea squad?
Yeah, for me, I think he's been there before. He worked under Pochettino, but unfortunately they couldn't sign him. So he coming back to Chelsea is not something new. But the only problem with this move is that now he's coming to meet a different crop of players. He's coming to play with the likes of Nkuku, Palmer, and the other guys. For me, I think you can't question his footballing ability. He's a young guy who knows how to play the football. The only problem is with his attitude. The problem he has with his career is with his attitude. Now we know that the relationship between him and his coach Diego Simeone has been broken completely. So he doesn't have a place in the Atletico Madrid team. The best decision for him is to move to Chelsea. For me, I think a lot of deals depend on that move. If he's to move, other players too will also move, and it will affect their other transfers. If Chelsea wants a player, I think João Felix is the guy. They can go in for João Felix, and maybe you can just bring him into the team. We can't rely so much on Mikhailo Mudryk, and Nkuku is not a player who will give you like a full season performance because of injuries and other stuff. So it will be good. They will bring João Felix in. He's been there. He's played for Chelsea before. His performance wasn't that bad under Pochettino. So I think they should just go in for the guy and make him like, maybe even if he's a backup, he's on the bench, and when he's coming in, for sure João Felix has the quality to add numbers in the attack. Because now Samu OMorodion deal is completely off, as you said, so you can't rely solely on Nicolas Jackson too. So you can even play him as a centre forward, and he's versatile in front of in the attack. He's versatile. He can play on the right wing, he can play on the left wing, he can play in the heart of attack too. So I think Chelsea should just go in and sign a guy so that he will come and help the team.
Do you think Chelsea will still go for Osimhen after OMorodion deal collapsing?
All right, so now the only thing is Chelsea are interested in Victor Osimhen, but one thing is Victor Osimhen doesn't want want to play on loan. He wants to become a permanent Chelsea player. If only Chelsea are interested, and I think everything now depends on Chelsea because he has already shown his interest that he is open to accept any challenge. But now everything depends on Chelsea for them to probably forfeit the price tag of Victor Osimhen. Yeah, that's the only thing. Because since other signings are falling off, I think your only hope now is probably going for Victor Osimhen.
Why OMorodion deal has been collapsed with Chelsea and then the player. But then, one information, a lot of people were blaming Chelsea that they had eye on Victor Osimhen. Others were saying that, okay, maybe probably because another club has come into that deal and OMorodion preferred to go there because he will get much playing time in the other club. But the real situation is that from the look of things, during the signing of the papers and all that, and I think the player side found out that Chelsea wanted to keep 50% of his right for the player. So, and the player think it's a disrespect from his
His
side.
image, right?
Yeah, his image right. So, and the player think is disrespect on their part. So he wouldn't be signing with that kind of offer being made. What do you think about that job? But now totally it's been collapsed, and as it stands now, it looks like if Chelsea is not getting him, they might probably be moving for Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, so I information getting to me was that after Neto was signed, it gingered the whole Chelsea squad to push for a quality player. Mind you, Samu is a good player, but for me personally, I don't think it's the standard of Chelsea. So therefore, that's why they gave him those conditions which were not right. But in light of this too, you should know that it's pointing to a bigger picture. Right now that they have been able to sign a very top player, they need to add more top players to the project. Just the signing of Neto brought about the joy from Chelsea fans. So just imagine if Chelsea is able to sign Victor Osimhen. I think that is what was going through the heads of the Chelsea officials, and they had to go for the deal. Yes, unfortunate that the deal collapsed, but then it's also a big positive for Chelsea fans out there because they are really happy that the deal was not able to go through.
Yeah, I think from the onset, I thought maybe Chelsea had finished with the deal and everything, and from the media outlets and everything, they were giving like hopes that Chelsea could finalize the deal in the coming days. It's rather unfortunate that things didn't go quite well with the player side on the player side and with Chelsea. That maybe in the last minute the deal fell through, but I think it's one of those things, football, it's part of the deal. Sometimes it's happened to Chelsea last season, Liverpool with Romeo Lavia and the other guys. So it's part of football. Sometimes you go in and you miss out on the player. That's quite like, okay, they should just look elsewhere. The transfer window is still open. They have about 2 or 3 weeks left. They can just go into the transfer market and get other players. But if they've missed out on Samu OMorodion, then that means maybe they are going to push in hard on Victor Osimhen's transfer. But it's still early days yet. We've not heard any concrete story coming from the camp of Chelsea, so we'll just wait and see how it turns out. But for me, I think Samu's deal is rather unfortunate that Chelsea couldn't finalize the deal in the last minute. But it's part of football, so we shouldn't blame Chelsea or the player. Yeah.
It's really happening with Arsenal. Why did they want such amount with Eddie Nketiah? Now, Marseille said they are no longer going to add any match or a dime for the price that they have already given Arsenal for Eddie Nketiah. Do you think Arsenal is asking too much?
Yeah, for me, I don't think Arsenal is asking too much. Eddie Nketiah is very young, a young player who has potential. So for me, Arsenal asking for such an amount, I think it's quite okay because we've seen players move to the teams with even bigger fees and other stuff. But I think the only problem is with the Marseille team; they don't have the money. The French clubs sometimes financially they are not up there. Last season, for instance, we sold Balogun to one of those French clubs, and he became one of like their main man in the team. So they are also thinking of maybe Eddie Nketiah moving to Marseille and becoming like a top striker for the club, and maybe they selling him on a lower fee or something like that. But for me, they could have just made a contract that includes so many things that maybe if they are selling on, if he plays this number of matches, if he scores this number of goals, they will take this from the club. They rejecting the offer is also not helping the player because we know for sure Eddie Nketiah will not play up to 10 matches for us now this season because he's mostly on the bench. For me, I was particularly thinking about the growth of the boy. As a Ghanaian, I also have an interest there because he's a Ghanaian, like, but he just plays for England, but everything shows he's a Ghanaian. I was thinking of him getting a playing time and moving to a different level. It's rather unfortunate. I'm just hoping maybe somewhere in January they will come back with a different offer and get the boy because as now right now they don't have any plan for him and he will just be on the bench and probably end his career like at Arsenal, just sitting on the bench. So he should just move. Yeah.
Zubimendi has been asked personally by Real Sociedad to activate his release clause if he wants to join Liverpool. Has it been done anywhere? Because I'm just hearing it for the first time. Do you think it's right by the club to action?
All right. So with Zubimendi, I think he has already shown interest, and the club as Real Sociedad is also willing to probably let the player out. So for everything to be successful, they are telling the player to trigger his release clause, which is around 51, I think 51 million euros, right? Pounds. So if I think he trigger his own release clause, I think Liverpool has the better chance, probably to see the deal done and probably for Zubimendi become a Liverpool player. So I think that would be the easiest and the fastest way for the player to come back to be a Liverpool player.
That's the easiest way for the player to be Liverpool. So he needs to contact the club for them to trigger the release clause. That's how I know about it. But for the club to tell the player, I don't actually heard about it before. But then, Sammy, what is happening in your own Barcelona? Hansi Flick said Ansu Fati is not part of his plans. He should find his way out. What do you think? Is it the right move for the player?
It's a very confusing statement, especially looking at how Hansi Flick was in love with Ansu Fati, said so many things of helping Ansu Fati get back to his former form. But one thing we should also know is that Barca has a problem with registration. Can you believe that even with Dani Olmo, he has still not been registered yet? That means we still need people to exit the club. In other words, we heard that Deco was able to meet with Ansu Fati and told him that he should find another club. So the statement was not coming from Hansi Flick. For Hansi Flick, he would love to work with Ansu Fati, but it's from Deco and the sporting side of Barcelona. Either way, it's still early days yet. And I think with the likes of Lenglet, with the likes of Araujo leaving the club, I think maybe there will be some space enough for Ansu Fati to stay. But then it's still early days yet. Let's just listen with the pinch yet for the meantime.
Okay, so it's still early yet. Let's wait and see what will happen in the coming days. For sure, if you just join us and you are new, remember to hit the subscription button, like and share the video, and we're gonna see you in the next video. Ciao.